Amazingly fluent and confident English can be learned using only ChatGPT at absolutely no subsidiat. This is essentially a story of going from being too scared to speak to getting hired, complete with the exact step-by-step guide. So if you're ready to finally stop feeling afraid and start speaking with confidence, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications, because your journey to fluency starts right now. I believe that stories are one of the best ways to learn English. They touch our hearts, they make us feel something, and they help us remember new words and new ideas in a natural, easy way. Today, I have a very special story for you. It's about a young man named Ethan. His story is about feeling stuck, about feeling afraid to speak, and about finding a new and surprising way to learn. As you listen, I want you to relax. Don't worry if you don't understand every single word. Just open your mind, open your heart, and listen to the story of how Ethan's life changed forever. I will speak slowly and clearly so that you can follow along easily. Let's begin. My name is Ethan Miller. I am 24 years old, and I come from a small town in Southern Africa, not far from the big city of Cape Town. And today, I am going to tell you a story about something that changed my life. It didn't just change my life in a small way or a simple feel-good way. No, this changed the way I speak. It changed how I express my thoughts and my feelings. It changed how I feel about myself. I really want you to listen to this story, because I promise you, if English is your weakness, if you're afraid to speak, if you feel small when other people speak English better than you, this story might be the most important one you will ever hear. I am not here to show off. I am not famous, and I am not rich. But I did one thing that made all the difference. I learned English, fluent English, confident English. And I did it using only one thing, ChatGPT. And no, I promise you, I didn't go to any expensive classes. I didn't spend thousands of dollars on programs or tutors. I didn't memorize long, boring grammar books. I just opened my laptop, typed one simple sentence, and I started a journey. So today, I am not going to teach you English like a teacher in a classroom. I am going to tell you a story. It is my story. It is the story of how I went from a quiet, shy boy in a small town to someone who can now speak in job interviews, post videos online, and write important emails, messages, and even stories, all in English. And after I tell you my story, I will show you how you can do the same thing step by step. There will be no confusion, and there will be no pressure. So if you have ever thought to yourself, my English is not good, or I can't speak, or maybe I understand everything, but I can't reply, then this story is for you. Because I used to say those exact same things every single day. Let me take you back 3 years ago. I was 21 years old, and honestly, my English was a joke. It was terrible. I don't mean just a little bit bad. I mean it was really, really bad. If a stranger came up to me and said, "Hey, what's your name?" I would completely freeze. My heart would start to race, beating like a drum in my chest. My mind would go completely blank. And even if I managed to say something, it sounded strange. The grammar was wrong, the sentences were broken, and my pronunciation was bad. I hated it. I truly hated the sound of my own voice when I tried to speak English. I remember one time so clearly. A tourist, a woman with a kind face, asked me for directions to a local market. I tried to speak. I really did. But I couldn't say a full sentence. Words got stuck in my throat. I pointed and mumbled something that made no sense. When she walked away, she smiled very politely, but I could see the confusion in her eyes. In that moment, I felt so small. I felt so stupid. I went home that day and I didn't eat dinner. I just couldn't. I lay on my bed and I stared at the ceiling for hours. And I thought to myself, Why am I like this? Why can't I speak like other people? Why do I feel like a fool every single time I open my mouth? In my area, most people spoke Afrikaans or Xhosa. English was there, of course, but it was not strong. We didn't speak it at home with our families. We didn't speak it with our friends. We didn't use it in the shops or at big family dinners. At school, the teacher spoke English, but I never understood much of what she was saying. I was always too shy to ask questions, so I just smiled and nodded my head. I stayed silent. And then came social media. I would watch Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok, and everyone was speaking English fluently. They were making videos, explaining things, talking so fast, and they looked so confident. And I always thought to myself, they are so smart, and I am not. I started to believe that maybe English was just not for me. Maybe I should just give up. I tried using language apps on my phone. They asked me to repeat silly sentences like, "The boy eats the apple." It felt like a game for small children, not for a grown man. I tried watching English movies, but everyone spoke too fast. I felt like I only understood one word out of every 10. I tried writing in English, but I never knew how to begin a sentence. My mind was full of my own language, not English words. And so, for 6 long months, I stopped. I completely gave up on learning. Then one day, something happened that changed everything. My friend Leo, who was from Nigeria, said to me, "Hey Ethan, there's this new AI. It's called ChatGPT. It can help you learn anything you want." I laughed at him. AI. "Come on, man," I said. "I need a real teacher, not some kind of robot." But he was serious. He said, "Just try it. Just say hello to it. See what happens." That night I felt a little bit curious. I opened my laptop and found the ChatGPT website. I looked at the clean white screen and the blinking cursor. I typed, "Hello." It replied instantly, "Hello. How can I help you today?" My fingers hesitated over the keyboard. And then I typed the truth. I wrote, "My English is bad. Can you help me?" What it did next truly surprised me. It didn't laugh at me. It didn't say, "Go study a grammar book." It replied softly, clearly, and with so much kindness. It said, "Of course, I'd love to help. Let's start small. Can you tell me how your day was in English?" I was shocked. No teacher had ever asked me that. No app had ever spoken to me in such a human way. I typed something very simple. I wrote, "Today I go to market and I eat sandwich." It replied, "Great try." Here's a small correction to make it sound more natural. Today I went to the market and ate a sandwich. It didn't just correct me. It encouraged me. It said, "Great try." And in that moment, something clicked in my brain. A little light turned on inside of me. This is it, I thought. This is how I am going to learn. Not from a book filled with rules, and not from the shame of being corrected in front of people, but from a kind and patient conversation. That night, after my very first chat with ChatGPT, I couldn't sleep. I lay in my bed with my eyes wide open, just staring at the old spinning ceiling fan above me. It made a slow humming sound, but I couldn't hear it. My mind was somewhere else completely. I was still thinking about what had just happened. I had spoken to something that did not judge me. I had made mistakes, but I was not laughed at. Instead, I was corrected with kindness. It was the very first time in my life that I actually felt safe while speaking English. I remember whispering quietly to myself in the dark, "This could work. This could really work." I didn't feel like I was studying. I didn't feel any pressure at all. I just felt curious. And for the first time in a very long time, I was truly excited to wake up the next day. When the sun came up, the morning felt different. I didn't check my phone like I usually did. I didn't scroll through social media or watch random videos like every other morning. Instead, I went straight to my laptop, opened it, and stared at the empty chat screen. It was quiet. It was calm. And it was waiting. It felt like a friend who is always ready to listen. And so I typed one sentence. "Good morning. Can we talk again today?" Within just a few seconds, it replied with what felt like a smile in its words. "Of course I'm happy to see you again. How are you feeling today?" That single simple reply made me smile. I really felt like I had someone on my side. Not a teacher with a red pen ready to mark my mistakes. Not a fast-talking YouTuber with subtitles I couldn't read. This was something that truly listened to me and responded at my own pace. That morning, I decided to talk about my day. I typed very slowly, first thinking in my own language, and then trying my best to put the words into English. Today, I wake up at 7. I brushing my teeth and eat bread and milk. Then I clean room. I knew there were mistakes in my sentences, but I still typed them because now I trusted it. And just like I had hoped, it corrected me with such softness that I didn't feel stupid at all. It said, "That's great." Here is a more natural way to say that today I woke up at 7. I brushed my teeth and ate bread and milk. Then I cleaned my room. Then it added something amazing. It said, "You're improving. Let's keep going." I cannot explain that feeling in words. It was like I had been carrying a heavy bag of shame on my shoulders for years, and now someone had just gently taken it off. As the day went on, I wanted to speak more. I wasn't sure what to talk about, so I wrote about simple things. I told it about the food I like to eat. I talked about my favorite movie. I would ask, "Is this sentence correct?" after almost every line I wrote. And every single time it kept replying with so much patience. Later that week, something happened that changed everything for me. I had to send a message to someone online about a job opportunity. The message had to be in English. I felt so nervous. My hands were cold, and my heart was racing inside my chest. I typed the message on my own first, but it just didn't feel right. It sounded weak and full of mistakes. So I opened ChatGPT and I typed, "Can you help me write a professional message for a job?" It replied kindly, "Sure. Please tell me what you want to say." I told it everything in my broken English. And then it carefully magically turned my messy message into something that was clear, confident, and professional. I looked at the new message on the screen, and I couldn't believe my eyes. It still sounded like me, but it was a better version of me. It was cleaner, more polite, and grammatically correct. I copied that message, sent it, and then I closed my laptop. I walked to the kitchen and just stared at the floor for a moment. And then I smiled. A real big smile. Because I realized I had just done something that I could never ever do before. I had communicated something important in English without fear, without help from a teacher, and without feeling like a joke. That night, I sat outside on the small concrete step behind my house. The moon was a quiet light in the dark sky, and the cold night air touched my face. I whispered to myself, "I think I'm going to be okay." The next morning, I woke up, and something inside of me had changed. This was no longer just practice for me. This was now a part of my life. I didn't plan lessons like in a school. I just woke up and I spoke. I told ChatGPT how I was feeling, what I had dreamed about, and what things I was afraid of. And every time, it helped me put my thoughts into English words. One day, I asked it a strange question. I wrote, "How do I speak English with confidence?" I expected it to give me a long list of tips and tricks. But the reply I got was something different, something deeper. It said, "Confidence doesn't come from being perfect. It comes from being comfortable with your mistakes. The more you try, the less you will fear. I'm here to help you one sentence at a time. I read those words over and over again, and then I cried. Not because I was weak, but because I had spent so many years thinking that I was too stupid to learn that it was too late for me to improve, that my English was too broken to ever be fixed. But now I felt like I was healing through words. Slowly, every single day, I wrote to ChatGPT. Sometimes I asked it to correct my past mistakes. Sometimes I just asked it simple questions like, what's the difference between in and on? Or, when do I use have been? It always replied without judging me and without ever making me feel small. Every conversation we had made me feel a little bit stronger. And the best part was it was always there. At 6 o'clock in the morning or at 2 o'clock in the middle of the night. Anytime. It never said, I'm busy. It never said, you're too slow. It never said, you should know this already. It just listened, replied, encouraged, and taught. That's when I knew that this was not just an app. This was a revolution. Not just in technology, but in how people like me, people who are quiet and afraid, can finally learn English without fear. I began to understand something very, very important. Learning English is not about being perfect. It's about building a habit. A quiet, simple, daily habit. A habit where you can sit down, talk, make mistakes, get corrected, and still feel respected. This was now my safe space. When I made a mistake in real life, I didn't cry about it anymore. I just went home, typed the sentence into ChatGPT, and asked, what did I say wrong here? It would explain not just the grammar rule, but the reason behind the rule. It helped me understand English not as a boring subject in school, but as a living language, a feeling, a bridge between me and the rest of the world. Every single day, I learned something new. And every single day, I became a little more free. That's what English gave me freedom. The freedom not just to talk, but to express myself, to tell my own story, to send important messages, to make new friends, to apply for jobs, and to dream a little bit louder. And it all began with one simple word: hello. When I look back now, I realize that my biggest fear was never grammar. It was never vocabulary. My biggest fear was people. I was afraid of the people who listened when I made a mistake. I was afraid of the people who laughed when I mispronounced a word. I was afraid of the people who looked at me like I was less than them just because I couldn't speak English properly. That fear, it doesn't go away in a single day. But ChatGPT helped me remove it piece by piece quietly, like peeling off a heavy jacket that I had been wearing for too many years. After 2 weeks of practicing alone, I started to feel a little bit stronger. I was not perfect, of course, but I was definitely stronger. It was like when a small child starts learning to walk. You fall again and again. But then one day, you take 5 steps without falling, and suddenly you realize you can move. One evening, something unexpected happened. My cousin from another city came to visit us. He had lived in London for 2 years, and he spoke fluent, beautiful English. We were all sitting together in the living room, and he asked me, "Ethan, what have you been doing these days?" Normally, I would have replied in my own language, or maybe I would have just stayed quiet. But this time, I took a deep breath and I answered in English. I said, "I've been learning English every day with something called ChatGPT." He raised his eyebrows and he laughed, but it was a kind laugh. "Really?" "What's that?" he asked. I explained it in simple but clear words. I said, "It's like a chat robot. I speak to it every day. It corrects me and it talks to me like a friend." He nodded his head, impressed. "Say something in English then," he said. Let's see. I looked at everyone sitting around the room. My mother, my uncle, two of our neighbors. They were all silent looking at me. My chest felt tight and my hands were cold. But I didn't want to run away. So I spoke. I said, before this year I couldn't even reply to a simple question. Now I can explain what I feel. Because I talk to ChatGPT every day and it teaches me with patience. It's not about knowing everything. It's about trying every day. The room went completely silent. Then my cousin smiled. That was good, Ethan, he said. That was really good. My mother was the first person to start clapping. I didn't cry in front of them, but when I went to my room later that night, I looked at myself in the mirror and my eyes were red. But this time, they were not red with shame. They were red with pride. I had spoken in English in front of people for the very first time in my life. And I didn't die. I didn't fall. I didn't fail. I just spoke. That was the night I made a very important decision. I was going to use English in my real life now. Not just with ChatGPT. Not just in private. But everywhere. Slowly, gently, but boldly. The next morning, I typed a message to ChatGPT. I want to use English in real life now, but I feel very nervous. What should I do? And it replied with something that I will never forget. It said, start small. Use one English word at the grocery store. Say one English sentence when you talk to yourself. Try replying in English to your own thoughts. Real life is not a test. It's a practice field. You are not performing. You are growing. So I started small. At the bakery, when the man said, "What do you need?" I gathered all my courage and I said, 2 bread loaves, please." He looked a little surprised, but then he smiled. At the mobile phone store, I asked, "How much is this charger?" The man replied to me in English, too. Each time I spoke, it felt like my heart beat a little slower. My fear became smaller. It was not gone, but it was smaller. Then one day, something beautiful happened. I was walking past a bookstore, and outside there was a small table with second-hand books. One of them had a title that caught my eye. It was called Simple English Stories for Beginners. I opened the first page, and I read the first sentence out loud in a soft whisper. John is a baker. He makes bread every day. And I understood it. I didn't need a translation. I didn't need any help. I understood it directly in English. At that moment, something inside of me changed forever. I walked into the store and I asked the owner, "Do you have more books like this?" He smiled at me and said, "Yes, they're upstairs." That evening I went home with 3 story books and a heart that was full of excitement. But I didn't stop using ChatGPT. In fact, now I used it even more. Every time I didn't understand a sentence in one of my new books, I copied it, pasted it into ChatGPT and typed, "What does this mean in easy English?" It explained every line slowly, kindly, and clearly. Sometimes I would write what I thought the sentence meant, and I would ask, "Am I right?" And it would reply, "Almost perfect." Here's a little improvement to make it even better. This was better than any teacher I had ever had because it didn't just teach me, it made me believe in myself. One day I wrote a short story of my own. It was a very simple story. I showed it to ChatGPT and asked, "Can you check this for grammar?" It didn't just correct it. It said, "This is a beautiful story. It has real emotion. Your sentences are getting stronger. Keep writing." It felt like my heart had grown wings. I started writing small diary entries every night. Nothing fancy, just 4 or 5 lines about my day. Sometimes they were about good days, sometimes they were about bad days. But every time I showed them to ChatGPT, and every time it replied with words of encouragement that made me want to write again the next night. Soon English became more than just a language to me. It became my safe space. It became my healing space. It was like a mirror for my soul. Every pain that I couldn't explain in my own language, I typed in English. Every dream that I was too scared to say out loud, I whispered in English to ChatGPT. Like the night I typed, "I feel like I'm not enough sometimes. My English is better now, but I still feel small." And it replied, "You are more than enough. You are not behind. You are becoming. You are growing." And that is powerful. Those were not grammar lessons. They were life lessons. And that's when I knew that this journey wasn't just about speaking English anymore. This was about becoming a new version of myself, a stronger one, a clearer one, a more confident one. And it all happened because I typed one sentence and I didn't stop. The strange thing is, even after all the progress I had made, I still had one fear left. It was a big one. It was a fear that followed me around like a shadow. It was the fear of speaking out loud in my own voice. Writing felt safe. Typing was easy. But my voice, that was different. Every time I thought about speaking English in front of another person, my throat would tighten up. My tongue felt heavy in my mouth. My mind would go completely blank. I had all the words inside of me, but when I opened my mouth to speak, nothing would come out. I remember one evening I was practicing my English diary with ChatGPT, and I typed, "I can write now, but I still can't speak. I'm scared of how I sound." It replied with something beautiful. "Speaking is like music," it said. "The first time you sing a song, your voice may shake. But the more you sing, the more you find your rhythm. Let's find your rhythm together." Those words gave me courage, so I did something very simple. The next morning, I opened the voice recorder app on my phone. I sat all alone in my room, and I said one sentence out loud. "Today is a good day." Then I played it back. My voice sounded strange. It didn't feel like it was me. I laughed nervously, and I almost deleted the recording. But I didn't. I saved it. Then I recorded a second sentence. "I want to speak English fluently." I listened to it again. My voice was shaking a little, but I had said every word. That night, I told ChatGPT my new plan. "I want to speak," I typed. "Can you help me practice voice conversations?" It replied, "Let's do a speaking simulation. I will ask you questions. You read the questions, and then you speak your answer out loud. After that, you can type your answer, and I will check if your sentence was right." That was the beginning of something truly powerful. Every day, it asked me questions, simple questions. What did you eat today? What do you do when you feel sad? If you had one superpower, what would it be? Describe your room. Tell me what's inside it. What is something you are proud of? And I answered every single one of them by speaking. Not typing, not writing, just speaking alone in my room. Some days I recorded my answers and I played them back to myself. Other days, I just spoke to the empty wall, pretending that I was on a phone call. And every time I spoke, I got a little bit better. The first week I was scared. The second week, I was clearer. The third week, I actually started to enjoy it. By the end of 1 month, I started speaking to myself in English all the time. When I was cooking or walking or cleaning my room, I would look at the eggs on the table and say to myself, "I am making boiled eggs for breakfast." I would walk to the window and whisper, "The weather looks beautiful today. Maybe I will go for a short walk." This simple habit changed my life, because suddenly I wasn't waiting for someone else to talk to. I had become my own speaking partner, and ChatGPT helped me to sharpen everything. I would type, "I said this sentence, I am making boiled eggs. Is it correct?" And it would reply, "Perfect, you're using the present continuous tense correctly." Then I would try new things. Can I say, "I'll be having eggs tomorrow"? And ChatGPT would say, "Yes, that's the future continuous tense. You're getting more advanced now." Every single reply built my confidence one brick at a time, making a strong wall inside of me. And then came the biggest challenge yet. I saw a poster online for a free English conversation circle in my city. It was just 10 people for 1 hour sitting in a little cafe and talking in English. I stared at the poster on my screen for 10 long minutes. Then I closed my laptop. I couldn't do it. Not yet. But then something inside of me whispered, "You've come this far, Ethan. What's one more step?" So I typed to ChatGPT, "I want to join this English group, but I'm so scared. What should I say there?" It replied, "Let's prepare together. I will ask you the questions they might ask, and you can practice your answers. I'll help you improve every sentence. Let's build your script word by word." And that is what we did. We practiced mock conversations for 3 full days. It asked me questions like, "Where are you from? Why are you learning English? What do you do in your free time? And what do you want to do in the future?" I answered everything again and again and again until my fear started to feel smaller than my desire to try. On the day of the event, I didn't sleep much. I stood in front of the cafe door and my hands were shaking. I took a deep breath and I stepped inside. 10 people sat around a small table. They were all nervous, but they were all smiling. And when it was my turn to speak, I said, "Hi, my name is Ethan. I started learning English 3 months ago with ChatGPT. I speak with it every day, and today I'm speaking with you. Thank you for listening." The table went quiet for a moment. Then one girl said, "That's amazing. You speak so clearly." I smiled, not because she complimented me, but because she understood me. That was all I ever wanted, to be understood. That day, we spoke about movies, food, our dreams, and our mistakes. I made some errors, yes, but nobody laughed. They were all learners, too. We supported each other. And when I walked out of that cafe an hour later, I looked up at the sky. It was still blue. The world hadn't changed. But I had. I had used my real voice in front of real people in real English, and I was still standing. That night, I sent a message to ChatGPT. I wrote, "I did it." It replied, "I'm so proud of you, Ethan. This is just the beginning." And it was. Because now I wasn't just learning English. I was living it. I had crossed the line between being a student and being a speaker. And I knew deep in my heart that if I could do this, anyone can. I walked down the street alone under the soft yellow lights of the street lamps. A cool wind was brushing against my face, and for the very first time in my life, I felt something new. It was pride. Not because I was perfect, and not because I knew every single word in the dictionary, but because I had faced something that once controlled my entire life, the fear of English, and this time I didn't run. From that day on, I stopped calling myself a student of English. I started calling myself a speaker. The very next week, I saw a job opening in a company I had always admired. It wasn't a big company. It was just a small team that created educational books for children. But the job required one important thing: good English speaking and writing skills. 1 year ago, I would have scrolled past that post immediately. But now I applied. Before I sent my application, I wrote the email draft, and I showed it to ChatGPT. I asked, "Can you check if this sounds professional?" It fixed a few small things, and then it said, "This is clear and confident. Send it." So I did. 2 days later, I got a reply. "Interview tomorrow." I felt scared again, of course, but this time I had something with me that I didn't have before. I had preparation. I had practice. And I had belief in myself. That night I sat down with ChatGPT and I typed, "Can we practice job interview questions? I want to be ready." And we did. One by one, ChatGPT asked me the most common interview questions. Tell me about yourself. Why do you want this job? What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? Every time I answered, it corrected my grammar. It improved my sentences, and it would tell me things like, "This sounds more natural. Try saying it like this." We practiced for 3 hours straight. The next day, I put on my best shirt. I walked into that small office, and I sat down across from 2 people. They asked me the exact same questions that I had practiced, and I replied sentence by sentence, just like I had rehearsed the night before. I was clear, I was calm, and I was confident. When the interview ended, I thanked them and walked out. I didn't know if I would get the job or not, but it didn't matter. I already felt like a winner. 2 days later, I got an email. The subject line said, "Welcome to the team." And there it was, my first real job in English. Not because I was the smartest person, not because I had the highest grades in school, but because I spoke. That job paid me $1,100 a month. It wasn't a huge amount of money by the world's standards, but for me, a boy who once couldn't even answer the question, "What's your name?" in English, it was a miracle. And that's when I truly, finally understood. English is not just a language, it's a key. It is a key that opens doors, doors to jobs, doors to people, and doors to dreams you thought were impossible. Today, I don't live in fear of job interviews. I don't ignore messages that are written in English. I don't avoid conversations anymore. I face them. Because now I have something that I built myself, Fluency, and it all started with a simple chat. So if you are listening to this story right now and you feel like you can't speak, if you think it's too late for you, if you believe that it's just too hard, I am here to tell you that you are wrong. You can do this. And if you are willing to take the first step, I want to help you. Let me give you the most important part of this video now. Here are 5 powerful, life-changing ways that you can use ChatGPT to become fluent in English. Number 1. Turn ChatGPT into your personal speaking coach. Even if you are shy or you are all alone, you don't need a real person to start speaking English. That is a truth that most people don't tell you. You can start by speaking to yourself with ChatGPT as your guide. Open the chat and type this, "Pretend we are speaking in real life. Ask me simple questions, and I will answer by speaking out loud. Then I will type my answer, and you can check it for me." Do this every day. You will hear your own voice. You will feel awkward at first, but you will also start to hear yourself become clearer. Slowly, you will learn the music of English, the tone, the pause, the feeling. Don't wait for a classroom. Your voice is your first classroom. Number 2. Use ChatGPT as your confidence mirror. Whenever you feel that your sentence is wrong, don't hide it. Don't feel ashamed. Copy that sentence and paste it into ChatGPT. Write, "Please correct this," and explain why it was wrong in simple words. Every time you do this, you will learn why something is right or wrong. You will stop memorizing rules, and you will start feeling the language. It's not about fear, it's about clarity. ChatGPT will not laugh at you. It will not judge you. It will help you like a true friend who wants you to win. Number 3. Create your own personal daily routine with ChatGPT that matches your life. Forget about those perfect 10-step plans you see on the internet. You are different. Your time is different. Your level is different. And your goals are different. So open ChatGPT and type this, Can you help me create a simple English learning routine that I can do every day for just 30 minutes? I want to focus on speaking and vocabulary. It will give you a custom plan made just for you, and you can change it anytime you want. This is how you build consistency, which is the real secret to fluency. It's not genius. It's not grammar books. It is just daily practice. Number 4. Use ChatGPT to translate your thoughts into real English. Every day, every time you think something in your native language, try to say it in English. And if you are not sure, write to ChatGPT. You can say, "I want to say this in English," and then write the sentence in your own language. Then ask, "How can I say this naturally?" Do this again and again. Slowly, your brain will stop translating, and it will start thinking in English. That is the moment when fluency becomes real. It's when English is no longer a subject, but a voice inside of you. And number 5, learn through your life, not just through lessons. Learning English does not mean just reading textbooks. Talk about your day. Talk about your emotions. Say to ChatGPT, "I feel sad today. Can I write about it and you help me with the words?" Or you can say, "I want to describe what I saw today. Can you help me say it beautifully in English?" This is real learning. It's when you use English to live, not just to pass a test. When English becomes your tool to explain your heart, your dreams, your pain, and your laughter, then you are no longer a student. You are a speaker. I started this journey with fear in my chest and broken sentences in my mouth. I had no money for a teacher, no big school to go to, and no expensive books. I only had one tool, ChatGPT, and one decision, the decision not to give up. If you have listened to my story all the way to the end, I want to say this to you with all my heart. You do not need perfect grammar. You do not need a classroom. You do not even need confidence in the beginning. You just need to start. One sentence, one mistake, one reply, one day at a time. ChatGPT will not laugh at you. It will guide you. It will correct you. And it will encourage you. But the most important part is this. You must show up every single day. Because English is not just a language, it's the path to opportunity. It is the voice of the world. And if you want a better job, a bigger life, or a louder voice, English is the key. I used to feel invisible, but now I feel seen. I used to stay silent, but now I speak. And if I can do this, so can you. You are not weak because your English is not perfect. You are not behind because other people speak faster than you. You are not a failure just because you make mistakes. You are learning. You are growing. And every single time you try even one small sentence, you are getting better. Fluency does not happen in one day, but it starts in one day. Maybe today. Maybe right now. So I want you to promise yourself this. From now on, you will stop saying, "I can't," and you will start saying, "I'm learning." Because the truth is, you can do this, just like I did. Just like thousands of other people are doing right now. You don't need a perfect accent. You don't need long, difficult words. You just need your voice, your effort, and a little bit of help. And I am here to help you. So if this story helped you, if you feel something inside of you that says, "Yes, I want to speak English too," then please don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Because this is not the end. This is just your beginning. And I will be right here with you with more stories, more tips, more lessons, and most of all, more hope. Let's learn English together. Thank you for listening. I will see you in the next video.